Child, listen. Y'all need to get in here for this hot tea. This is crazy. Umar allegedly has been caught with a snow bunny, and yeah, on live and center, front and center, with an actual snow bunny. And yeah, I got a lot of things to say about that. Also, I wanted to talk a little bit more about some policing ideas in America, and even debunk some things that possibly may have been thought about what some of us have been saying here in the sector regarding policing in America and regarding gun control. All right, so let's talk about that while we get into the morning show.
It's Block Lounge Entertainment, and the time is right with T-Pre.
So, shout out to all the loungers. I really, really appreciate you guys for always tuning in, always coming in and catching a replay. And for those of you who come in and actually participate in the show. So, I actually wanted to talk about the policing first and even debunk some things in regards to what may be possibly thought of what I've been talking about in regards to American policing and how we need to possibly do some things different in our communities. And it's not even a possibly, it's definitely a must. I think that we all know, and I think we all can agree that American policing definitely needs some changes. Okay. As far as some of the things that we've been dealing with, as far as the violence and the level of violence that comes from American policing, I do think that there does come a time where we have to actually change how we're doing things in America, because this will ultimately change what is happening with people. Now, a lot of people actually agree on the fact that the police have been kind of unuseful lately, especially, well, they've been unuseful for centuries, what melanated people have been talking about. But ultimately, what people have been seeing lately is how the police have been um, how they've been interacting with the community and whether or not the money that is allocated to police academies actually works. Okay, does that work for the people? So there's been argument back and forth about that, or not even argument, but really actually discussion back and forth about whether or not policing is actually useful, or at least policing as we know it is useful. So, one of the things I did was I made a video the other day, and for those of you who did not catch it, I'd like to put a link to that video in this description box so you can see it for yourself. What I had mentioned in this video is actually something that is talked about across Black America in many places. One of the places was the House of Eisenberry, and shout out to him. There was a part in his book where he talks about how Black people and people in general can begin to save money within their communities, so that they can improve the quality of life of the people in their community, as well as improve the community's conditions. And in doing so, it may not be fully necessary to have policing as we know it today. So I think in saying that, some people got the idea that I was saying to get rid of police and to not have police at all, which is completely asinine. You got to have a security, you know what I'm saying? Especially in a country that was built on defense and built on warfare, taking people's land and taking people's rights, taking people's property. So, this is what our country was built on. So, it would be asinine for us to start talking about giving up our gun rights, and those kinds of things, and then giving up government altogether. I'm not really sure where that thought process started coming into the conversation because I haven't heard anybody in the sector saying that we should get rid of our government. What we are saying, and I do think I've heard people say, and I've said myself, is that we need to reform our government. So when you have a shaky house, okay, when there's a bad foundation on the house that you've built, you got to tear that thing down and rebuild from the ground up. So no matter how many good pieces of sheet metal, and I mean sheet rock, and no matter how many good pieces of brick that you lay on top of that foundation, if the foundation is no good and the foundation has cracks all in it, the foundation is broken up and tore up, eventually everything that you build on top of that foundation is going to crumble at some point. It may not happen right away, but ultimately, to make things easier on yourself, it would be best to fix the foundation before you try to fix anything else on a house, okay, or on any type of building or anything like that. If you got a shaky foundation, you're going to have problems. So that is what America has. We have a very shaky foundation from the beginning when it comes to how this government was built and how this government was set up. So ultimately, and over time, there will have to be changes within the American government. There has been some things that the United States has done to change some things, but not enough. And in order for us to get those things done, it's going to take the people to do it. And it's not necessarily, when you say the people, that doesn't mean all of a sudden there's going to be anarchy and everybody's just out here fighting the government. That's not what that looks like. Okay. And it's a shame I have to debunk that and actually really make that clear to adults. I think that what we need to understand about putting the power back in the community and not in the government is this. When you talk about countries like Canada, when you talk about countries like Australia and like Switzerland, okay, for instance, keep in mind, Black people live in these countries too. And even in Canada, particularly. Matter of fact, I know a few people that live in Canada, a couple people that live in Canada, and they're Black and they do well. Um, when you talk about countries like Canada and places like this, okay, you got to understand how the government works with the people, okay? So the government is not working against its citizens in these countries. And that is how the people are able to work with the government. If in the event the government began to work against the people, this would become a problem in those countries. But the reason you're not seeing these mass shootings and all these problems in all these other countries is because of the environment of the country. Okay. Has nothing necessarily to do with even, racism, because racism exists in these countries too. Okay. It does. But it's not as prevalent. And the need for defense, the feeling of the need to defend everything and to defend yourself so much is not there because the government is working with its people. So the people of the United States will need to have that same mindset. We don't have that mindset because we've been lulled to sleep with all of these rules and these laws. And these laws and these rules are not working for the American people. So if the laws and the rules, which the people of that land are only subjected to if we allow ourselves to be subjected to it, if the laws and the rules of that land do not work for those people, then the people will need to do something about that. And that doesn't mean anarchy and war against the government. I don't know where that idea comes from, but there's so many more ways that we can fight that. There's so many more ways that we can actually correct that. And one of them, like I said, one part of this, which was I spent I don't know how long on this part, but one part of this is fixing the economy. How to fix the economy is not relying on the federal government to do that. Fixing the economy would mean putting particular monies away, saving money within your family first, because you can only do things with your family and what's in front of you. Saving a certain amount of money and giving yourself certain tiers of savings. So, for instance, the other day I said 25,000 or 20 to 25,000. And then another tier would be 10,000 and another tier would be at the absolute lowest 5,000. And give yourself 2 years and find like-minded people, okay? Start purchasing your blocks. See, these are parts of changing policing and changing the economy. It's not, oh, we're just stopping all this and everybody just pick up your guns and you govern your own house. It's no. And I don't know where that idea came from. But again, saving money, giving yourself a 2-year goal, and in that time, meeting like minded people, and then buying back your properties, buying back your communities together in pools and in groups and in communities. This is not abnormal in America, actually. This is just something Black people are new to. Some Black people, anyway. But a lot of Atlanta neighborhoods and other neighborhoods are gated communities and they have their own security. Yes, they have their own security. The police are not the outside county police, the city cops, they are not patrolling their neighborhoods. Now, do they work with those communities? Yes. Do they work with security in those communities? Yes. So why does buying back blocks in, in groups and in clusters sound so foreign to people? Why does that sound like anarchy? That's not anarchy. Nobody said stop paying your taxes and blow up all your government buildings and then everybody get together and do this together. No one said that. You still got to live in America. You still got to pay taxes. You don't want to go to jail. You want to be quote unquote law abiding, right? But there are ways to do that and still take back the power of your community because ultimately the federal government really in the long run when you really look at this from the proper perspective, the federal government is not who we really have to be particularly concerned about. It's who's in your city council. It's who's on your county seats. It's who's your state governors. You understand what I'm saying? It's who your mayors are. This is who we should be concerned about. And it's funny because right when there's about to be elections within certain spaces in America is when you start seeing an increase in these shootings and an increase in these types of situations. So you got to put the power of this back in the people's hands because that is what the Constitution says, right? We, the people of the United States. So it's not about just the government. But if we want to talk to one another and gaslight one another about protecting the American federal government, then the federal government will need to work for the people. And as long as the federal government is not working for the people, then the people have the right and the power to correct that. And that is something that the people need to understand. So I would question anyone that would want to question the rights of American people in that matter. I would question anyone who would attempt to debunk that in any kind of way. Because this is written. It's their fault they wrote it. But they wrote it. And again, like I said, the American people have the power to fix these things and to do something about it. I'm going to go ahead and look at the comments real quick. Hey, everybody, I appreciate everybody being in the building, and then I'm going to talk about this Umar thing. What's happening, Spottum? I appreciate you keeping it plain. What's going on? You said, hey, T Pre and chat. You said, A Hill, you says, yes. What people don't consider or want to talk about is underground illegal structures embedded in our neighborhoods. Exactly. And you know, it's funny because these underground and illegal structures that are embedded in Black neighborhoods are coming out of government funded programs such as the police. Okay. Like American police. Like, for instance, like I was saying, there's multiple police that come into various places, especially into cities. Okay. And they don't even live in those communities. So they don't have any interest in that community whatsoever, except making money off of that community, some of them. And so they plant things in our communities. They plant guns, they plant drugs, they plant all kinds of stuff. This is nothing new. You understand what I'm saying? So, again, is American policing as we know it now, is this working for us? And if it's not, then we need to be taking our funding and improving our communities, not waiting on the city council to do it, not waiting on the mayor to do it because they're not doing it. Hello. So we need to take our money and improve our own communities. Whether we get them gated or not, it doesn't matter. Whatever we decide to do, we need to take our money and do so, because policing as we know it is not working in America. It's not working. And clearly, it's not working across the board. You said exactly. Anarchy is not the answer. To Carrie Ann's point, some form of governance is absolutely needed. Exactly. Like, I loved her video yesterday because she's right. How the hell are we going to not have any government? That doesn't make any kind of sense whatsoever. However, the government that we have in place is not working for the people, and the people have the power to change government. So that's the difference in anarchy, which I don't know who feel like that needs to happen, but that's the difference in anarchy and actually establishing a government for the people that will really work for the people, and really pushing people and forcing that, and holding people to the fire for, for what they got to do, like, bottom line. And then also maybe changing positions out, like people, maybe they hold their positions in government a little bit too long, you know um maybe those things could be thought about too. So yeah, I agree. And I told her yesterday, that was a great video. You said, how will individuals and families get access to awareness to change culture, build trust, and understand finance? So those are things that I think we can definitely talk about, because each one of us have various talents. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, I'm a banker. Okay. We have bankers in this sector. We have teachers in this sector. We have psychologists in this sector. We have, you name it, any type of any type of profession is just in this sector alone. You know what I mean? So these are conversations we can have with one another about what we can use, what resources do we have, and what talents do we have that we can put together to come up with plans like this, on how to gain access to each other, how to gain awareness, how to change culture, and how to build trust. I agree with that. One of the things on building trust, is this: we've got to start paying attention to social media spaces. We have to start paying better attention to social media spaces and information that we're getting out of these spaces. Um, who is in these spaces and what their reasoning is for. Because a lot of stuff and a lot of Black spaces are, infiltrated. And there's a lot of different people that are coming in. They're saying different things, doing different things, causing chaos, like we've been talking about the past couple of days. A part of this will come from, monitoring and gatekeeping in our communities, gatekeeping in our social media spaces, and other things like that. It's gonna come from that for sure. So that's another part of this that I think will come from building trust, and then in understanding finance. just a matter of education. Really, I think it's just definitely a matter of education with that. You said some black communities were self-governed in the 70s. I grew up in one. Each black had an association, problem, mob influence, drugs, bought, crime, and gentrification. Can you explain the last part of that? I didn't quite understand that part of it, but I do know what you mean about self-governed black communities. But at the same time, I don't know if I want to call them because well, when you say self-governed, what do you mean? Do you mean like everyone in that community was protecting their community? Because that's what I mean. Like I don't think everything that was done in the past will work in the future. You see what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of things that came from closed off communities because that's not what I mean. Um, but there's a lot of things that came from closed off societies and closed off communities that I think can be detrimental to the community and especially detrimental to children. So I don't think that we should be doing things like the 70s per se. Um, but I definitely think we can take ideas from the 70s, take ideas from the past, and put them together with fresh new ideas based off of things that we have learned since then. You see what I'm saying? And make that a difference. Because we can still have closed and gated communities without them being closed off to society. Like we don't need to be closed off from one another. We can actually use each other in, and gaining and trading resources as well, talking to one another, using each other's schools, using each other's talents. But particularly when I'm talking about gating and talking about security, I'm talking about policing. You see what I'm saying? As opposed to talking about closing people off. Like, I think y'all would understand what I mean by that. Okay, you said between black associations, institutional governance, business ownership, and US government representation, not a gated community. Okay. So I think you heard what I said just now about what I mean about gated community. I don't mean like gated, like nobody can get in the sense of we are closing these people off from society. That's not what I mean. I mean, like you're saying, between black associations, institutional governance, business ownership, and good U.S. government representation. Between that and protecting our communities with our own security through our funding, I definitely think is a good idea. And then also using and trading resources with other communities or with within the area or whatever the case may be, because we can't gate one big ass state. You see what I'm saying? Or we can't have one or two people protecting one big ass state, but we can have a group of people protecting this area and another group of people that look out for that area and so forth. And that's just for the policing part of it or the protection part of it. But everything else we can have, like we can have hospitals, we can have schools, we can have shopping malls and shopping, whatever we want. But those could be, at different parts, and we can trade with one another on those. But when it comes to protection, that's what I'm talking about. You should be protecting the area that you live in. Like if I have policing in my neighborhood, I would expect to see those police living in that neighborhood. You see what I'm saying? You said we had our own doctors, lawyers, they lived in the neighborhood. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about. You said that was gentrified or became opportunistic as time went on. Yeah, but see, that's the thing. Like that's where we gotta critique things. You see what I'm saying? Like maybe if we don't do it this way, this will happen. Or, we can learn from the past on mistakes that were made in the past when things became gentrified. What can we do now to prevent that from happening and stuff like that? You said problem was with crack families became defensive about their children and family drug and alcohol problems. You know what? That's deep. That's deep. I appreciate your input on this, A Hill. Thank you for that, and for everybody else that's been talking about this. But yes, I definitely believe that putting a lot of these opportunities, ideas together, and putting our talents together within the communities will definitely protect us a lot more and change the way we look at policing. And even if we have the need for policing as much or as we know it, if we are improving the lives of the people within the community and improving the conditions of the community. And that takes one step at a time. Like, if we got this grandiose idea of how to do it and say, oh, everybody just improve their community, we've got to have steps to take. We've got to have things that we're opening up and things that we're putting together so that we're coming up with these ideas and that we're then implementing these ideas into the community. Okay, so shout out to all of y'all for being here. I really appreciate y'all. Look at Ray Triggs up in here in the clouds for the positivity. You go on, boy. Shout out to Ray Triggs for being in the building. I always appreciate you coming in, bro. I appreciate you. Hey, Carla Martin, shout out to you. You said Grand Risings, Miss T Pre, Loungers and the chat. I love this content. And A Hill comments, yes, absolutely. This is building. This is what we talk about when we're just talking about building. We're about to get into the fuckery in a second, but yes, definitely I appreciate conversations like this. Samba, you said we also need to eradicate the whole crab in the barrel syndrome if we want to succeed. Absolutely. Absolutely. We must believe in ourselves, y'all. Like if we don't believe in ourselves, that is part of the problem. That's like half the battle is believing that you actually can fulfill it, that you can, this can be fulfilled. Okay. We have the talents, we have the funding, we have everything we need if we really wanted to get this done. It's just a matter of getting over the fear and getting with like minded people. Like I said, everybody doesn't have the same mindset. Everybody's not going to do the same exact things. There's gardeners out here, so we got farmers, we've got teachers, we've got doctors, we got lawyers, we've got you name us, we got us. Okay, and we got bankers, we got everybody. We've got police. You know what I'm saying? We got everybody, but we need to start with our little areas and our little sections and whatever, and police and protect those areas and trade resources with one another. So yes, I really always appreciate you guys coming in. Um, you said a little. Oh, you said like part of my family is from a sea islands. Our land was restricted to family, but markets influence folk to sell. Not much you can do. And you said, agreed, Samba Queen, it's a process, but we can definitely accomplish this. I agree. I think this can be done. And I don't think it would be as difficult as we think. I know that we've had a past of, where things have looked bleak for the Black community and things have looked like there's no hope for us and there's nothing we can do, but it is doable. This is absolutely doable. And it starts with us. So I'll be doing like periodic conversations about it, talking about it. Maybe we can get some committees together and we take those things back out into our own communities and teach. Because each one teach one. Hey, peace and love, conscious energy. I appreciate you being in the building. Shout out to you. What's up, R&T Edutainment? Always appreciate you coming in. Conscious Energy, you said Dr. Umar Johnson's the cookie bandit. I'm about to get into the cookies in just a second. Well, right now we building, bro. You said absolutely, Carla Martin. It's absolutely doable. It is definitely doable. And I'm glad that you guys are seeing that and able to take that energy out into your communities too. You said Samba Queen, good morning, my love. All right, so I see that y'all are what y'all here for. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get into these Umar Johnson cookies that he was over there trying to get the other day. Like, I don't know what's going on, but the Prince of Pancakes been out here trying to holler at the snow bunnies. Okay, uh, that's kind of like some egg on the face kind of moment because Umar Johnson has been known to talk about interracial relationships, interracial activities. He has come down on various multiple men for doing so. And it's funny because they've been kind of going back and forth, like various men in the manosphere go back and forth over Umar Johnson and his love for coming down on black men for dating white women, and coming down on white women for dating for black women for dating white men. And his reasonings behind it, how you'll have to um protect the black community and keep the black blood pure and all these other ish that he says. Okay, listen, Umar. All right. At the end of the day, and I've always said this, date who you want to date. If you want to date white people, black people, Chinese people, green people, orange people, that's on you. You have the right to date who you want to date. I personally don't have a preference for white men. Okay. However, I have seen some very nice looking white men. Okay. But that doesn't mean that I would just go out and have a date with a white man. But that's just my preference. Okay. But there are women, black women I know that only date white men. Okay. There are people I know that only date white women. Okay. And, it just is what it is. I don't have a particular issue with it. I don't particularly care. Because, like I said, everybody has their preference. But what I do have an issue with, okay, is when somebody tries to put their thoughts and their beliefs, okay, or at least what they think is popular belief, or at least what they think is going to get money in their pocket, when they try to push a certain agenda on the world, and then they turn around and got to put pie on their face because they're caught in the very same position that they're coming down and condemning everybody else over. I mean, I think that's my biggest issue with this. It's not that he was really with the white girl, and clearly he was giving that girl his phone number. I don't care what he says or how he says it. Clearly he was giving that girl his number, okay? And it damn sure wasn't for her child to join FDMG. I mean, okay. So, and it damn sure wasn't for her to get a parent book. Okay, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. He damn sure wasn't trying to buy no Abatala shakes. Okay, like nah, that's not what was going on. We know damn well he was giving up his phone number to that girl. Okay, so either way, he can do him, but live in your truth, sir. Okay? Live in your truth and stop trying to exploit the black community, and exploit us over these silly ideas and antics. Okay. At the end of the day, many of us have mixed races. Many of us have whites and blacks directly in our families. So we don't have those same ideologies of who you should be dating and who you shouldn't be dating, who you should love and who you shouldn't love, because it really doesn't fucking matter, right? Like you sleep with whoever you sleep with, you love whoever you love, and all these race wars and these race conversations don't do nothing but cause division within our communities, and cause problems and cause chaos. And it goes from both sides. It's not just the white supremacist side. Okay, there's another side of this too. And I'm not saying that we don't want to be woke and we can't be, because I have a lot of Pan African ideas as well. Okay, but I'm not anti-white. You understand what I'm saying? Like being looking out for the black community and looking out for black people is not anti-white. You understand what I'm saying? So I think there's a difference in that, and I think that he needs to watch his speech as well, especially, and it's clear, like I said, we're in the Mercury retrograde. So there's a lot of F stuff that be coming out in the wash on either side, regardless of where it's at and regardless of where it's coming from. So, sir, clearly you're not practicing what you preach. If you're sitting out here, preaching all this stuff about white women and about dating white women and how, black women are queens and black women should this and black women should that and black women are the ones that should be held up and be protected, and you how dare you black men do this and how dare you black men do that. You sound like an agent, sir. you're starting to sound like a chaotic agent coming for black men and literally um, gaslighting the black community. That's what you sound like. You talk about all this black and white and all this stuff, and then you're talking about opening up a school for black boys and how black people should do this and how black people should behave. I should have known with the Sharon situation from Harrisburg. That woman didn't look too black either. I'll be honest with y'all. Maybe y'all seen her before. Maybe y'all ain't seen her before. I know a lot of y'all have. I know that y'all were talking about this at a period of time, um, which I do think could have been, in a sense, very destructive. But also, I do understand where it came from, and how it started. And it should have been left there because it was enough. But yeah, when I saw the woman, Sharon, I should have known then that Umar definitely is into them snow bunnies. But yeah, my thing is if he want to be into the snow bunnies, do that. But he gonna have to change his whole story. He gonna have to change his whole storyline. He gonna have to change up his whole conversation. Um, everything is gonna have to change. He ain't gonna be able to stay in the Pan African, at least the way he been, talking trash about white people all day, and just putting white people down as far as dating them and being in relationships and not believing in interracial dating and saying this stuff on public platforms multiple times, like multiple times. I'm talking about the Breakfast Club, you said it. I'm talking about at people's colleges, like all kinds of stuff. And it's crazy. Just all over YouTube, all over social media altogether. Um, yeah, Umar has been very open and probably one of the most vocal about interracial dating today. Okay, in the black community, he's one of the most vocal about this. But yeah, you all can be looked at as agents as well, because ultimately, at the end of the freaking day, y'all, okay, we live in a country in America, and in most of these countries, there is mixed races, okay? There are black and white people. We are never going to be able to separate the black community from the white society. It's just not going to happen. I don't know where that idea comes from, okay? But we're not going to be able to do that. Taking back our land, taking back our government, and taking things into and putting things in order does not mean getting rid of all white people. Okay. I don't know where, but no, it does not mean that. It means working together, debunking lies, debunking stereotypes, talking with one another, finding, like I said, like minded people, and working together is what's going to fix these issues in our communities. But having this idea that all black people are going to live on one part of the world and all white people are going to live in another part of the world is asinine. Okay. And like Carrie Ann said, it's fairy tale like. Okay. Very fairy tale like to think that. We're not going to be able to do that. And we shouldn't want to. You understand what I'm saying? Because, like I said, this whole idea of race and these race wars and these color charts and all these things are meant to create classes of people, okay? And which ultimately causes this spiral that we're in right now. Everybody's trying to fight to get above the next one. You understand what I'm saying? Everybody's trying to pull one down to get above that one. That crab in the barrel mentality. You know what I'm saying? We got to get out of that mentality and out of this mentality of thinking that we're going to all live separate from white people, or white people are all going to live separate from black people. I don't know where that. We got to stop that shit. Umar, I'm gonna need you to, if you like the snow bunnies, son, like the snow bunnies, get a couple of babies with a snow bunny. Do what you do, whatever you do, sir. It's okay. It's not. Nobody's going to kill you. They might, but nobody's going. Nobody's gonna kill you. Nobody gonna do nothing because people just doing this shit every day. It is what it is. I don't have a problem with it. I don't really care. But I have a problem with it because you keep coming for everybody else who's doing it. And that's where I think the issue comes in. And I think that's where everybody's issue had come in with this situation. So let me go back up a little bit to hear what you guys are saying about all of this. I see conscious energy said already. uh, okay, I see you guys said. Yep. So conscious, you said still no HVAC installed. Still no HVAC, but he got that white girl number though. He got that. You said LOL Jermaine caught lacking. Girl, he caught lacking. I don't know what's going on. He got caught lacking though. Somebody was, and they filmed it. It's not like this is just a still photo. They actually filmed it. So that was crazy. I really, really, definitely thought that that was wild. But it's just the simple fact that he thought it was okay to be telling everybody else what they should be doing with their sex life and who they should be messing with. But he out here caught with the white girls, girl. You said Jermaine's stuck in a time warp. He found Jan from the Brady Bunch. Fraud, right. Right. You said we should be everywhere doing everything productive, ideally uninfluenced by stigmatism. Absolutely. I agree. Like, we should be able to, if you want to date somebody of a lighter hue, who cares? You understand what I'm saying? If you want to date somebody of a darker hue, who cares? We got to get away from all of these ideas from both sides of the perspective. Because at the end of the day, it's not productive on either side. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's clear. You said, my boy Umar, hey, Limitless Jones, you said my boy Umar went on a shopping spree and got a bunny number on the way on the way out. Man, he went shopping for some bunnies. Hey, we on lock. I appreciate you, bro, coming in the building. You said, boy, oh boy. Man, oh man. What's up, Spottom? You said he needs to stop faking and get him a Peggy Sue like CE did. Yo, it's too early. It's too damn early. It's 7 o'clock in the morning over here. We not doing this. We not doing this, Spottom. And you know it's real early over there. You said, where's the school, Umar? The school is there, conscious energy. The school is in existence, okay? I don't know why you keep saying, where's the school? The school, well, the buildings are in existence. They are, okay? But yeah, he needs to open the school. But it would be, he's not going to be able to open that school in September, y'all. I doubt it. I doubt it. You said much to do with nothing. That's true, but yeah, we still gonna talk about that shit. You said conscious energy, same place your community center is. You know what? And the church, right? And the church. That's where the school's at. It's where the community center and the church is. You said Umar's whole shit stick is exploitation. Without it, he's got no other tactical game plan. Exactly. And that's a damn shame that he feels like it's okay to keep doing that with the black community. He always wants to exploit us, talk about how we're this, gaslight us for that, talk about this and talk about that, but then get on your Cash App. Get on your Cash App, dollar sign. Like that's the first thing he do, and but you out here doing the same things you preaching against. Like, bruh, stop it. You said, "LOL, Peggy Sue." Spot I'm out here today. You said hit the like button, family. Thank you, Conscious Energy. I appreciate that. And yes, please hit the like button for Conscious Energy's beautiful sister, Miss T Pre. Make sure you hit the like button. You know what? It sounds crazy saying hit the like button because every time I say that, I think about the paperwork party now. Okay. Shout out to the paperwork party. He got this whole song about hit the like button. His like should match his views. Every time I hear that shit, every time I want to say hit the like button, I'm thinking about that song. Like, oh my God, sir. I like the song, but you gotta come up with something else because that shit is so catchy. Super catchy. But shout out to Paperwork Party. He surely got a lot of receipts over there if y'all haven't been over there. Hey TMK, I appreciate you being in the building. You said I have seen the picture, but is there a video? There is a video. I'll put a link to the video in the description box so you guys can just click on that. The video is about 25 seconds long or so. It's not really long, but you can see them at the mall. I think they were at, if they were at Christiana, they were at the Cheesecake Factory because that's how the Cheesecake Factory looks in there. But I'm not 100% sure. But if they were at Christiana Mall in Delaware, that's where that is for sure because that's how it looks in there. That's where the bar looks like. You said, is there a video? Yes, there is a video. I will put the video in the description box. You said TMK Grand Rising, bro. Max V has a video but no sound. Yeah, there, I heard the one. I think there was a little bit of sound on one of them. I heard it could have been, but it could have just been the person talking and laughing in the video. But I'll put a link to it up for you guys. And yeah, Max V, I think he did do one also. You said TMK salute, peace and love. You said Umar still sticking to the script. He said, I have white female friends. Doesn't mean I want to sleep with them. Hell no. No, bro. That's not what was happening, bro. I know you are an Umar Johnson fan. Okay, brother. I know you are. But no, 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 no. That ain't what was happening. He was not with his friends. You said there is at least a momentary idea that interracial children will be allowed better integration, livelihood, and life. Yes, Umar will need a new marketing approach. Absolutely. I think he does need a, now it's time. It's a good time to start having a different conversation. And yeah, I agree. I don't think that, this idea, this radical idea of, you know, only black people are going to live here and only black people are going to thrive and do well, like this is an ideology that has been created by white supremacy, okay, which causes classes of people, causes a crashed economy, because like even some of the sisters in the sector, and Carrie Ann's been talking about this a lot, about homelessness, about and various things that cause poverty, that cause crime. Okay, if you can fix and eradicate a lot of those things, all this other stuff would go away. But having conversations about switching up races and changing from white to black, and the whites live over here and the blacks live over there, this is a stupid conversation. We all one fucking race. It's the human race, man. We just more melanated than others. You said TMK media cocaine strippers. Cocaine dealer. You said Jesus. You said conscious energy. What's up, bro? You said, Hill said, take a look at a demographic map of the United States. It's amazing how small and clustered our population is. Hmm. And that's for those who take the census. You said, Carla, other than conversation, was there any evidence of romantic involvement? I didn't get to see the video. Maybe he's taking donations from anybody now. Could be, but I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, the video does show that him getting a little bit closer and getting going away, moving closer and stuff like that. So it's possible. You said Umar Johnson is realer than Conscious Energies Community Center. And his church. And his church. Don't forget the church. You said September. It's been at least a decade. I've been hearing about this school. Umar out here fooling generations. Girl, I'm trying to tell you. Yeah, it's been I live in Delaware, so I know that Umar has been talking about that school for a long time. And that school that he purchased, he's had for a few years. And yeah, he has not been doing anything with it. Um, but raising money. I know it's going to take a lot of money, but this can be done. If he really wanted to open that school, he could do it. He could have been did it. But he's playing around. Honestly, I'll be honest with you. I think he's playing around. You said still no board of directors, no teachers hired, no students enrolled. There is no school. All Umar Johnson cares about is cookies and ladies. that's happy to be happy to be nappy. And he may not be with the ones that's happy to be nappy, even that. He might say, but we know he like cookies. But ain't nothing wrong with that though. Like I don't see him liking women as a problem. There's nothing wrong with that. And even if he liked white women, I wouldn't care about that either. I think it's just a matter of the what's the name was saying, like he need to change up his marketing because he needs to stop with the fuck shit. Like, oh, stop dating white women and stop dating white people when he out here possibly doing that. Like, come on, bro. And if you're not, the appearance of it really looks that way. And it would be reasonable for people to believe it. You said Propane Oak Lane, salute. What's up, Propane? I appreciate you coming in the building. You said peace, Propane. Propane said, I was eavesdropping on your live when I was live. Oh no, I didn't know you was live. You okay. My bad, bro. You always be live in the morning. I should check that out before I go live. My bad. But we both be doing our early morning show. You said, hey to Carla NCE. Hey, the Black Nepotus, how you doing today? I appreciate you coming in. You said I never took the census. I know many of people that have never ever taken the census. That's why I don't believe in the census, and I don't believe what the census tells us as far as statistics, because there's a lot of people I know that don't take the census. They don't even trust it. So, um, you said Umar could have started tutoring services to build funds. He could have done that. He could have did online schooling, especially during the pandemic. Um, there could have been a lot of things he could have done. He could have started on a smaller scale. There's so many things he could do and still do if he really wanted to open that school. But yeah, he's not going to open that school in September unless he's doing some of the smaller things, smaller scale things, like we're saying, like tutoring or daycare or or something like that. He might be able to do it by then, but the school thing, he's not going to have any of that stuff in place by September. And like even by now, teachers who are they should have teachers hired, and teachers should be preparing their curriculum for next year. And I don't see any of that stuff happening. So, yeah, I don't know what's up with Umar with the school and all that stuff, but I definitely don't think that Umar has any intentions of opening that school. And if he does, I don't think that he's going to open it anytime soon. What's up, HM? I appreciate you being in the building as always. Shout out to you. You said what's good, Miss T Pre. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and end the show. Just to let you guys know, as I was talking about earlier, for those of you who will catch the replay, I was talking about policing in America and how we need to some of the things some steps we can take on changing how policing looks, changing how community are treated, and what we're doing in our communities, such as, for instance, clearing up, getting together, taking certain funds, getting on certain tier levels financially, and putting funds together and cleaning up our communities one by one. Okay, buying back our blocks, buying our neighborhoods back, getting rid of like certain things, like we shouldn't have a liquor store on every freaking block. You understand what I'm saying? We shouldn't, there's just certain things that we should not have. Okay, and we the people who are living in these communities have the power and should take that power of putting back into those communities, purchasing our own security and paying for our own security in that community, making sure that that security is in that area or has an interest in that area. You see what I'm saying? So, for instance, your policing should not be living in a whole nother state. Your policing and the policing academy that you're using, they shouldn't be living in other towns. They should be living in your town. You see what I'm saying? They should be living in your area. These are things that we should be talking about and actually paying these security companies out of these fundings, out of these community funds, and putting that kind of stuff together. Um, Hey, the zone, I appreciate you. Not sure who you are, but I appreciate you coming in the building. Shout out to you. And you said, shout out to T Pre, shout out to T Pre. Okay. And you said, have a fantastic Friday, beautiful people. Yes, absolutely. You said, how is going New York to interview this lady? I'm sorry, going to New Jersey to interview this lady. I'm not sure. Are you asking me a question or are you telling me something? I'm not sure what you're telling me. You said our community, I thought we are one race. Yes. So when I say our community, am I saying something wrong? Because what I mean is one race. So if you have white people, because see, for me, for instance, I have white folks in my actual family. Do you understand what I'm saying? I have white, black, I have a mixture of people in my family. Okay. So, what I actually mean is your actual community. See, everybody doesn't live in the inner city where it's all black people living there. Okay. It's some of us live in communities where there's multiple races, where well, according to them, races. Okay. Multiple hues and so forth, if you really want to get into that. So, yes, I absolutely believe our communities, we need to buy our blocks. We need to purchase our communities back. And we need to clean up our communities so that when we're talking about policing in our communities, we're actually putting ourselves in a position to win because the people that are in our communities are protecting those communities. So that's what I'm talking about. I'm not sure what you're talking about. You said I do too, and they divide my family. Okay, well, not mine. So, I'm sorry that you're experiencing that. But in our family, that's not the case. So, yes, I don't believe that we should be divided. And that's unfortunate that you're experiencing that. You said sorry for the typo. Okay, but I wasn't sure what you were asking me make a change. I think you said how is going to NY to interview. Never mind. I don't know what you was talking about make a change, but whatever it was, you're welcome to say it again. But either way, yeah, in my family they don't, and I don't know what to tell you about that. And this channel is not about that. Um, you said integration weakened Black people. Well, did it? I agree that the ideas under Jim Crow laws and under a white supremacist community and a white supremacist society absolutely weakened our people. Absolutely. But I don't believe that this is a white Black person issue. I think part of the problem is the fact that we have these white versus Black ideologies on both sides, okay, that has caused this problem. So I do agree that in our society, integrating in a under Jim Crow and under a white supremacist society, under white supremacist ideologies, absolutely weakened Black people or weakened the people. Okay. But I can't say that this is a white thing. I can't say that this is just a white thing. I think this is white supremacist ideas, and white supremacist ideology is not the same as just white people. It's not. And I need people to do a little bit more education on that. I need people to really understand that because remaining in that mindset is also weakening our people, just to help you understand that. So you said SMH. I hope that's not Umar's exchanging digits with that lady, man. I'm just saying. You said Jim Crow painted our people into a corner where they had no choice but to stick together. Exactly. And it's unfortunate because we've got to come out now of this 1960s era mindset that we've had, this 1950s, 1960s civil rights era movements that we've had, because that has been stifling to the people, to our community. It really has. I can't deny what the Black Nepotist is saying, but I understand what you're saying when it comes to. I need you to understand the difference in how that weakened us under the ideologies that we were under and under the mindset that we were under the Jim Crow laws and all that. Yes, it did absolutely weaken, but that is what needs to be changed. You said, I meant to say, who is going to New Jersey to interview that lady Umar Johnson was talking to and get the tea? I would go. But the way my bank account is set up, ain't nobody going to interview that woman because I can care less, for real. You said before integration, I think you're saying our community was more tight knit and self sustaining. And it was, but it was also under white supremacist ideologies. You understand what I'm saying? Like this was all coming out of slavery, coming out of those that era. This was all coming out of those time frames. So yes, this is why we're saying we need to go all the way to the core. We need to go all the way down to the surface, all the way down to the foundation and clean up from the foundation up. We can't just start putting pieces on top of the foundation we currently have. Because as long as we're doing that, these kinds of conversations will continue to come up. Okay. And we'll continue to think that if we separate ourselves from one another, that this is going to fix the problem. This is not going to fix the problem. The purpose, the issue to begin with was the ideologies that came in to begin with. This was the problem. Okay. Because every white person did not own slaves. Every white person was not on that boat. Every white person was not thinking along those lines. That's just bottom lines. And honestly, that's facts. Like, I live in a state where a lot of these Quaker white people and these white people were used in the Underground Railroad. They had homes where you can go to these houses to this day, and there's still trapdoors and stuff in those houses where white people own those houses. Okay. I'm not saying that I'm just putting white people on a pedestal. That's not what I'm doing. But what I'm saying is the idea that we're supposed to separate from white people is one of the problems in this situation. Just like the idea of separating from black people or segregation from black people. The idea of that. Yes, at the time we had different things that worked for the black family, okay? But then as we went along and we got integrated with them, along with white supremacist ideology still in play, still in place, yes, those things cause major destruction across the board. But what are we going to do about the foundation? Are we going to clean up the foundation? Because that's what we need to do. And part of that foundation is the ideas of white supremacy. Those things got to go. The newer generations of children that are being raised up and this has been evident, um, are not thinking like some of their older white counterparts have thought in the past. They don't have the same ideas. I'm not saying they all are like that, but a lot of them are not. They're not. The thing that these boys did recently in these school shootings is not popular amongst young people. Okay, they're not like, yeah, this was great. No. So the idea of white supremacy is dying off as the generations are going along. So a lot of these things that have happened in the past are not going to be the same in the future. So we need to be having conversations that will be effective for not only ourselves today, but for our children in the future and their children as well, and their children's children. What will be sustainable? What is going to be honestly sustainable when we're not here? Having these radical conversations about separating themselves is crazy. But having conversations about working together and getting rid of these ideologies in the first place so that they can fix and keep the foundation from being shaky and keep it sturdy is what will work. Empowering them all together is what will work. Not this separation, this hatred, because that's keeping the fuel going. It is. Now, I want you to understand something, spiritually speaking. And I'm gonna take this Umar thing off real quick. I want you to understand something spiritually speaking. And I've mentioned this before. There are two bloodlines. I've said this before and I'll say it again. There are two different bloodlines. There's one who is you, and there's one who is not. Just because they have dark skin does not mean they are you. Just because they have white skin does not mean they are them. And that is the part you need to understand, spiritually speaking. So I'm not going to go into this because I'm not a Christian or any of that shit. But spiritually talking, you must understand the differences and that there are, in fact, two separate bloodlines. And in knowing that will empower you and to help you understand where things are coming from and why people, why these things are happening. Okay? But we must understand the difference in the two lines. And why, we need to stop having these types of conversations. You said we haven't had a serious level of organization within our community since the civil rights movement. And I don't know if I agree with that. You said, yes, TMK. Dr. King talked about leading folks into the burning house. Hmm. And that was close to his death. He was talking about that and realized that he may have took us into a burning house. You said, are we not still under white supremacy? Yes, we are. And that's the point I'm trying to make. That is what needs to be fixed. That is what we need to eradicate. Not eradicate white people and separate from white people. We need to separate from the ideology of white supremacy, which is completely different than separating from white people. It's totally different. You said TMK, that's because folks brought back a taste for butter biscuits. The youth got this though. Absolutely. You said most of the mass shootings are committed by white males between the ages of 18 and 24. They are millennials who are becoming radicalized. I don't know about that, TMK. Like for instance, the New York City bomber was not between the ages of 18 and 24. Timothy McVeigh was not either. Neither was the shooter at well, Sandy Hook, I think he was pretty young. Um, but the guy who was just in Oklahoma the other day and or in Tulsa the other day, he was a black man and he was 35 or 37. So this is I disagree with that. I disagree with that. I think there's a lot of things that are shown on the news that are not shown everywhere else. But I will say that a lot of these shootings do come from people who have NRA rights, people who are involved in the NRA. It tends to happen more in the counties and out in the country than it happens in inner cities. Absolutely. I agree with that. But a lot of these bombers and a lot of these shooters are not 18 to 24. Like y'all remember when the Dark Knight came out and that guy went in that he went in that movie theater and shot up the movie theater. That guy was not 18 to 24. The guy who went into the concert, there's been like several shootings and several mass shootings in the past few years, couple of years, that are not always making the news. Um, and they're not always that age. And so no, I don't think that. And but I do think that there are millennials who go into these chat rooms. Like I do think it's more prevalent for millennials to be in online spaces simply because of their age and simply because of the fact that, they're just more technology savvy. You said yes because their parents instilled fragility in them instead of proper parenting. I agree with that to as well. You said facts. I strongly believe in empowerment. I have a program where you work with young men, and a lot of the times I find that these young men feel lost. They don't feel empowered. They feel like there is no hope. Exactly, and teaching them hatred for other races and stuff, especially black men, teaching them hatred for other races and teaching them that only black is all it is and there's no, I don't know how empowering that is because it almost gives them a sense of they are beneath everyone and they have to fight harder and they have to do this and they have to do that, and it gives them a sense of I need to be militant and I need to be angry and I need. And do they? Is that really empowering them? You know, I don't know. I mean, my sons are, I can speak for them. I can't say that they're not um, pro-black because I think that they are, but I think that they have an understanding and a sense of race. I think they have a much better sense of this idea of race. I think their pro-blackness more comes from protection of black people, protection of their mother, protection of their sisters as black women, and protection of themselves as black men, and understanding that they are black men and that they live in a white supremacist idea, a society. I think they understand that, and they use that to their advantage. And I'm not going to talk much about that. One of my sons actually has a YouTube channel, and he talks a lot about this stuff. But well, he talks about these things. But well, both of them, I think one of them had one. He had one, but I don't know. Anyway, one of them has one and the other one had one. And they talk about stuff like this often. And they follow various people, but they have understanding of who they are, but it's not a hatred for whites at all. Um, you said, I'm referring to recent cases. I said, most, not all. I will access the FBI documents to support my statement. There are so many shootings that don't make the mainstream news. Exactly. Absolutely. The ones that, like you're saying, most are the ones that are coming up in mainstream media. But yeah, I agree with you on that. You said, I reach back all the time and have never been disappointed how our youth blossom. Me neither. And it's amazing because I have six children. So I've been able to see the different generations of them. I've been able to see the different ones in different age groups. And yeah, it's amazing to see. It's amazing the idea and the mindsets that they have, and the ways that they think. And also, some of them, how they feel that our ideologies, we're pushing those things on them. A lot of them don't feel these ways. They don't feel this anger and don't understand where this is all coming from. A lot of them don't, whether people know it or not. Whether they want to accept that or not. And like we're all saying, we need to let the youth blossom. Let them be youth. We don't have to teach them these militant, angry ways that didn't work for us in the past. Okay. And that's all I'm saying. You said the white people is the nation of Edom, and America is that burning house MLK was talking about. He was a part of the mountaintop of this government of the deep state. Okay, I like you. I like you because there's a lot of stuff you're saying that is that I talk about actually. But I think what you're getting to, and I think what I have gotten to is the fact that a lot of this conversation and America with the C's, or really I put the three K's, which is the 11th number 333, or 3333, 33. America, when we talk about that, we're talking about again white supremacist ideology. We're not talking about the people of the land. We're talking about white supremacist ideology, and being in here and living in this space, and growing up in this space and being born in this space is what has caused a lot of this hatred. So when you talk about the burning house burning down, yes, that's actually symbolic and it's real. America will fall. The K's will fall. Okay. But the people have to be prepared for that because the people are not going anywhere. The blacks or the whites are not going anywhere. But the ideas of America, the ideologies, the white supremacist ideologies are dying, and they're dying fast. And that's where a lot of this fear has come in. A lot of these crimes of fear have come in, because this is so true. Thank you, HM. You said good discourse here. I hate living. I hate live is ending. Yeah, it is because I got work today and I haven't done my workout yet. I haven't had breakfast yet, but I'm gonna definitely get back um, into this because this is a very, very good conversation. I definitely think this is something that we need to be talking about a lot more and be opening up. You said, Black Napotas, this society is based on classism. Exactly. It's not, yes. And the problem, Joe, and thank you, Joe, and I appreciate you coming in today. The problem with this classism, right, is that they're hiding behind the colors of our skin to make this a thing. And this has been going on since the beginning of time. Okay? The Since the beginning of the country, since this inception, since before then. You know, this idea of classes of people is what has, making the world go round. And the colors of your skin, and they're hiding that behind that. And that is what's keeping us weak. 100. You said peace HM Miss T Pre brings clarity and context on the regular. You know it. You said HM Carla, indeed. Thank you. You said the Black Napotas, you said the government knows who we are, and we know who they are too. You said make a change. T Pre, we need to have an open dialogue on this. Yes, absolutely. I definitely agree. Make a change. And I think it's a really good concept. I think it's a really great conversation, for anyone. But I definitely think that having, this conversation about just Black empowerment is asinine. I'm gonna be honest with you, because it's not just about Black people. We are never going to completely separate from any other quote unquote race. Okay. But we must start getting rid of these ideologies and changing these ideologies and start having conversations with some younger people. You'll be surprised what they're talking about. You'll be surprised how stupid they think some of these ideas are. I'm talking about, talk to a 12-year-old or talk to a 10-year-old, talk to a 13-year-old. Because they're going to be your age one day. Okay. Them and their friends. And the way that we think, along with our friends, is not the same ways that our parents thought. I mean, and the way that they thought is not the way that, their parents thought. Things were different for different generations. So we have to go and grow with the generations, and the generations ahead of us. You said this generation doesn't have race on the birth certificate. Facts. You said I like you, but fortunately don't have to compromise without white people. That means I don't hate them. I'm distinguished. Okay, and you're entitled to that. You said, correct. Okay. All right, guys. So listen, I do hate to end the show. I know really is a great, great conversation. I think I'm going to build on this some more. And I would love for you guys to build too. I'm probably going to do this on an afternoon or an evening. It's just I do other things in the evening after work. So sometimes it's kind of difficult to do that. But more, I'm going to try to find time to actually talk about this again. And I'll let you guys know when I do. I'll put a notification out for it, and talk about some things and really open up the, I'm going to open up the panel too. So if you guys want to come up and give your opinions on it and just have an open dialogue, we absolutely can do that. Okay. What's happening, Nappy Yankee? You said Umar is a one dropper. According to him, he is that Becky. He and that Becky will make a black baby. You know what? All right. Anyway, guys, I truly appreciate you guys for always coming in, always supporting the show. Thank you guys as always. And again, like I said, I'm going to open up that conversation again, so that we can definitely talk about empowerment, talk about movement. But yeah, whoever's out here talking about anarchy and no government, I don't know who you are, but sir or ma'am, please cut that ish out. We definitely need some government, but changing how, the government works for the people is essentially absolutely essential and absolutely important and necessary, for the empowerment of the future generations, and empowering them to understand their rights and understand themselves as American citizens, and what the Constitution says and means, and what to do with it, and without the white supremacist ideologies on either side, because again, hatred for white people is also a, part of idea of the white supremacist ideology. All right, guys, I will talk to you guys later. Again, thank you guys for tuning in, and I appreciate you. Peace, guys.